screen, kindly let me know. Can you see my screen? Okay. Good evening again, guys. I hope we all had an amazing day. Even though with all the hustling and bustling of Nigeria, we're all still good. So yeah, before I continue with today's class, I just like to ask a few questions to ensure that we do actually still remember and we got the concept of what we did in the previous class. So yeah, I'll just allow like 4 or 5 people to just speak and try to remind us about what we talked about in the previous class real quick. So just 5 people, just raise up your hands real quick. Just five guys, 5 of you guys. Um, Nobody's raising up their hand. Doesn't mean that we do not remember or we did not understand properly. So that's one. 4 more to go. Two. So I'm just going to wait for 1 more minute. That's the third person. After that 1 minute, no more hand raising. And we can just take those few guys and get on with today's class. That's 4. One more person. Okay. Let's get on with it. Samson, what's up? How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm sorry. I'm on the road, but I'll try as much as possible to quickly share my idea of my knowledge about wireframe that you taught us on Tuesday. So my basic understanding about the wireframe is like creating your ideas, ideas to bringing into reality in the aspect of you discussed with us about the low pi, the mid pi, and high pi. So the low pi in the aspect of sketching the ideas as the idea is coming, you're able to sketch it. It could be rough, you sketch it, you use drawing books. Like you said, you usually love to do that. That once the idea comes, just try to put them down. Then from there to the mid pi, whereby you it will be you'll be able to now move higher a bit from the low pi to the high pi, whereby in this aspect you'll be able to everything, every button, every idea, you dot everything that is there, and from there then to the high pi, because it's from the high pi that you'll be able to send it to the developers. So to develop. So I think with that, that's my little idea about it. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah, that's a nice
Yeah.
one.
That's my little about.
That's a nice one. Um, um, Johnson, you can go ahead. What do you have for us?
Okay, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Johnson.
So, from the last class, we talked about wireframe more. So, basically, we said wireframe is the virtual representation of what we want to build or what we want to design. So, and we made mention of why we should do wireframe, to give us the basics of the visuals, to save time, etc. We also talked about types. There's the low fidelity, mid fidelity, and high fidelity. Then which the low fidelity are more of sketch, raw sketch that you can do on your paper, drafting out the ideas as they come to your mind. Then mid fidelity are the ones you do digitally that are a little bit more accurate and you can easily transit to the high fidelity. Why high fidelity are the ones that are already properly designed and arranged that we are able to send to the developers, basically. And we also talked about tools where we talk about Figma, Sketch, and other more, Adobe XD and the rest. So then we did a practice where we were able to create a registration page.
That's great. That's great. Thank you for that. Um, Yanulua, you can go next. Yanulua, are you there? Okay. Latif, you can take the floor while we wait for
All right.
Yanulua.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. So,
Please, thank you. I think, see, I think what I'll start doing now is anyone that calls me sir, please, Victoria, remove them from the call so that they can join back.
all right. So, the last class we talked about wireframe and prototyping, and actually talked about wireframing more, which is the blueprints and architectural layouts of how we want a design or a product to be. And we saw why wireframing is important as a designer, whereby it helps us identify issues or problems that the user have early without well before producing or launching a product. Then we eventually talked about the types of wireframe, which is low fidelity, mid fidelity, and high fidelity. Whereas the low fidelity, you just making sketches or and there's one part I grabbed about what you said. You said adding your ideas, probably is rubbish, the good ideas, the very, very good ideas, or ideas from other people, just dropping it in the sketching. Then the mid fidelity is whereby we filter out and just make necessary changes, not really investing heavily on it. Then the high fidelity talks about we investing more, doing the right button, with the proper layouts, and probably introducing the logo. Then we talk about the tools that we can use, which is and the primary tool this is the sketch pen and paper. This is basically for the sketch for the low fidelity. We talk about other like Figma too. Then we did like a practical class. So that's basically like summing up everything, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Even though you still called me sir at the end, don't let me say God will judge you for that. Anyways, let's continue with today's class. So today, just like I said, we're going to be talking about prototyping. But before we go over to prototyping, I made mention of something in the last class, which was user flow. So now, what is user flow in its in a nutshell? So a user flow basically just represents how the users will navigate through a product. A user flow is more or less like a document that tells you the actions. In my own head, most times I think of the UI design as the front end, while the user flow, I think of it more of as the back end. The reason why I think of it as the back end is that the user flow talks about what happens when a user does an action. For example, if there's a call to action button, there are primary buttons, tertiary buttons, secondary buttons. If a user should click those buttons, what happens? If a user should fill a particular form, what happens? So that is what the user flow talks about. It talks about what happens when a user takes actions. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Am I making sense? So that's basically what a user flow does. Nothing fancy. That's what a user flow does. Oh, sorry, give me a couple of seconds, please. Um, Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me? Hello, can you guys hear me? Yeah, so sorry about that. A call came in. As I was saying, for the user flow, it basically just talks about how it connects with each other. How when you click a button, what happens, and what action actually starts, and at the end of the day, what the user gets. That's basically a user flow. So let me show you what a user flow document looks like. So can you guys see it? So a user flow document can basically be likened to a flow chart. Do you get what I'm saying? It can be likened to a flow chart. So if you look at it now, let me use this as an example. So this is like the entry points for the user. This welcome is what they see, the task, what they do, and then what they get immediately after it. So this is basically just like a rough sketch, but this is not tied to how would I call it, an application in itself. So I would suggest that you guys actually read up on user flows, and then maybe when we are having the mentorship session, you can just ask any questions you want regarding user flow, so that we don't take too much time on the user flow thing. Do you guys understand? Okay, so now let's go to our main event of today, which is prototyping. So in a nutshell, can you guys tell me what you think prototyping is? Can you like drop it in the comments? Can you do that, please? Just drop it in the comment. What do you think prototyping is before I now tell you what prototyping actually is? I'll just give you guys like a minute or so to do that. There's no one typing. What's going on? How the elements in it. Okay, the question is, what do you think a prototype is, or what do you think prototyping means? Okay, I'm still waiting for some other people to drop their comments before I would continue. Okay, so now let me go over what you guys said. It's a demo of how a product will look like before sending to developers, making a simple version of a product to test an idea. That's good. Prototyping is how a design works, like the flow of each actions, of every CTA button or buttons in a design. Okay. Think it has to do with creating a version of the main product just for testing. Prototyping is the process of creating a model of a product or design before the final version is created. Okay, okay. A system of showing direction of your products. Sample of real design. I think I like this one. Sample of the real design of product. Prototype is creating a replica of how you want the final product to be. Prototype is a sample. Prototype helps demonstrate the functionality of a product. Well, you guys are all right. You're all correct. There are no wrong answers here. So, in a nutshell, even leaving design or development out of it, when you hear a prototype basically just means that a particular sample that is created mainly for test purposes. We are leaving it out of the design world now. So when you hear things like we just created a sample for you guys to try. We created the sample of so thing for you guys to try, and if you like it, then we'll continue to create it. We'll continue to make that product. That is what a prototype is. It is a sample of how the final product should look like, and also a way to test the product with before investing so much money, so much effort, and so much time into it. Do you guys get me? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Are you still with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, you guys were not saying anything. Okay, let me repeat myself. A prototype is basically like a sample created just so we can test how people will react to a particular product, a new feature, a new product, before we invest so much money into actually mass producing or creating the final thing. Do you understand, Ekene? Did you get me? Okay. Now, in the design sense, a prototype is still very similar to the normal way a prototype is perceived in normal English language, in normal industrial language, and the likes. But in this case, it is more or less like a way of you creating how the final product would be like, so that you can use it for testing purposes, to gather feedback so you can know, do we need to add more features? Do we need to reduce the features? Do we need to make some buttons bigger or smaller? Do we need to make some processes? Maybe they are like 4-step processes. Do we need to reduce it to 2? Do we need to reduce it to 3? It's more or less of a way we can get how the users would feel when they are using our products, how they would interact with the products, and their emotions, everything around it, before we actually go into the development phase to start building the actual product itself. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So it's more or less like a sample of the final thing. It's the sample of the mobile app, the sample of the web app, the sample of the websites, and then we give it to people to actually test it, to get that feel of how the app would behave and how it would feel when it has finally been built and given to the public to use. Now, for a prototype, most times, if the company is a big one that they can afford to actually get testers, what they do is, after building a prototype, they get a couple of people that never worked on the product, not a designer, not a product manager, not a product owner, not even a developer in some cases. They'll get them to test that interactive prototype. And after testing it, their comments, their feedbacks would now be put into another version or the latest version of that same prototype. And they can try to get those people to test it again And if it solves the problem that they had in the previous version, then they can now continue to build that product or feature. Now, if you notice, I've been saying product or feature. A prototype does not necessarily have to be like a totally new product on its own. It could just be like a small feature. For example, I think recently WhatsApp started letting people drop voice notes, video notes on their WhatsApp status. So before they pushed it out to the public, they must have created a prototype and tested with a small group of people to see if that will actually work. And if it did not work, then they wouldn't have pushed it out for the public. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Are you guys still with me? Yes, beta version. But in this case, it's not even the beta version. What we are still doing is the design, because imagine if we do a beta version or a alpha version or whatever, or a gamma version, whichever version we want to call it, we have developed it, and at the end of the day, we found out that there's a flaw. Then there will be a problem. We have wasted so much money, wasted so much time developing it. But if it's still in the design phase, it's just a clickable prototype created with a prototyping tool like maybe Figma, Protopy, and the likes. And it is tested over and over again. We see the faults, we see the pros, we see the cons, and we fix it still on the design. And then we test again and we see that maybe we had 10% or 15% error before, and we're able to reduce it to say 6%, 4% error. Then we can now tell the developers, oh, developers, it's good to go. Let's start building this. We have less errors now, and it should be good enough. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So that's the basics of a prototype in a nutshell. While prototyping is just the process of creating a prototype. It's that simple. A prototype itself is it's just that particular one you're creating as a sample for people to test, while prototyping is the process of creating that sample. Do we understand? Does that make sense, guys? Okay, now let's continue. Now, just like wireframes, we also have different types of prototypes. We have two main types. We have the low fidelity prototype and the high fidelity prototype. Now, most designers cannot actually differentiate between the low fidelity and high fidelity prototypes. They believe that it's all the same, but I'm here to tell you guys that it's actually not the same. Now, a low fidelity prototype is basically the kind whereby if you click on next, it will work. You click on previous page, it works. It's still clickable, but it's not behaving like the actual final product. But for the high fidelity will actually behave like the final product, to the extent that if you actually type just like you would on the final product, it would work. If you type on it, it would work. If you increase change colors, try to change things like profile picture and some other things like that, it would work like it's actually the final product. Now, the high fidelity is the type that is actually given to testers to test, to try and break it to see if it's still going to work after the testers have done a lot of things around it. So do you guys know the difference now between the low fidelity and high fidelity prototypes? So that's basically the difference between the low fidelity and high fidelity. Low fidelity prototypes, they still work fine, but it might not behave exactly like the actual final product. Okay, I'm going again. Low fidelities are still clickable or prototypes. They are clickable wireframes. They might not have the real interactions in the sense that if you click on a form field and you try to type in your name, it might not work. Instead, you might just use maybe like a single button for it to demo you filling the form field, but you're not actually filling it with your own information. But for high fidelity prototypes, you can actually fill in all of your information, like you're actually doing a sign up process, like you're actually logging in on the final product. I don't know. Yanulua, did you get that? Or did it get more confusing? Yanulua, can you hear me? Is someone raising up their hand? Let me check this. Okay, yeah. Onyekosala, you have a question? Onyekosala, you can speak. Onyekosala, are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. I can hear you now.
Okay, so I just want to be clear about the low fidelity prototype. I don't know, is it the same thing? Can we classify what we did during the last class, the practical we had during the last class, where you like put in those menu, what's it called? Those stuff that you did under the menu though. I don't know if you can, I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
I don't get you.
I really
But
can't remember. But then
what, what,
after
what we did in the last class are actually wireframes. They are not clickable. They don't have
yes,
any interactions at all. So those
exactly. So I
cannot be
want to know,
classified
can
as
we classify that under low fidelity since it is just clickable and then we cannot like interact with it?
they are not actually clickable. The one we did in the last class is just one singular page. It's just a wireframe. It's not clickable at all because we did not add any interactions or any animations to it. I
Okay.
think what's confusing you now is the fact that they have the same naming. So let me complete the naming.
Okay.
We have low fidelity wireframes, mid fidelity wireframes, and high fidelity wireframes. Did you get that?
Yes. I
Then
do.
we now have low fidelity prototypes and high fidelity prototypes.
Yes.
Do you understand now? So they are kind of different. So the low fidelity prototype, it still has interactions. If you still click a button on it, it will go to the next page. It will still perform an action.
Okay.
While for the high fidelity, it would behave almost exactly like the final application itself. The low fidelity one will not behave exactly like the final application, but it will try to mimic it to a certain extent. Do you get now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Tawi, do you have a question?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I believe like if you have like maybe a sample maybe on your draft that can like just show to us so we can
Yeah,
really get.
we're going to try and build some.
Okay,
We're going to build prototypes in this class. That's why I'm
okay,
trying
okay,
to rush out this part so that we can actually have some time to work on prototypes. Do you get
okay,
me?
sir. Okay.
Yeah, cool. So on to the next one. Let's talk about tools we can use for prototyping. So there are several tools we can use for prototyping. And of course, Figma is there. We use Figma for prototyping also. We use Adobe XD, Marvel app, Protopy, Mockflow. Now, all of these guys have their own pros and cons. They have their own limitations. For Figma, yes, you can do prototyping there, but I don't know, for reasons unknown to me, I've only been able to use Figma for, would I call it low fidelity prototyping? Because, or maybe I've not actually stretched myself enough to use it for that. Sorry, please give me a couple of seconds.
Please, sir, we cannot hear you, sir.
Yeah. Sorry about that. A call came in. I had to take it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Okay,
sorry. My
okay.
bad. As I was saying, we have so many tools for prototyping. We have Sketch, Figma, Adobe XD, Marvel App, Protopy, and Mockflow. When I started my journey as a UI UX designer, I actually used Adobe XD when I first started, before I started using Figma. And sincerely speaking, I'm not going to lie to you guys, Adobe XD has crazy prototyping. Like the prototyping on Adobe XD is really great. But the issue I had with Adobe XD back then, I don't know if it has been fixed because I've not gone back to Adobe XD in like, say, 3-4 years or so. They had great prototyping, but the issue was the fact that I could not easily collaborate with people when using an Adobe XD file. I would have to manually send the Adobe XD file to the person, and then the person will also need to have Adobe XD app on their laptop to be able to view it because I was on a free plan. But Figma was able to solve that problem for me. That was why I switched totally to Figma. But if I'm being sincere, Adobe XD as of then had amazing prototyping features. Not that Figma does not have amazing prototyping features. They do also, but compared to Adobe XD back then, Adobe XD was the king of prototyping. But if you actually want to do like, how would I put it? High fidelity prototyping that you have proper clickable and interactive prototypes, I would suggest you go for something more like Marvel app or Protopy. You can start your design with Figma and then connect it to Marvel app or Protopy. They would actually allow you to do a lot more crazy prototyping. And in recent years, some people also use Framer for their prototyping. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So if you want to do crazy ass prototyping, you would have to learn one or two other different prototyping applications, not just how would I put it? Not just Figma. But for starters, you can just keep using Figma and enjoy yourself. Nobody's going to fight you about it. All you just need to do is tell the developer when they click on this, this would happen and stuff like that. Just explain. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Are you guys still here? Okay. All right. So now the process of prototyping, first and foremost, convert your wireframe into a prototype. And how do we do this? We add interactions and clickable elements. Number two, design your user flow. Just like I said, if this person clicks on this, this happens. They click on that, this happens. Define all of that before you start doing your prototyping, because at the end of the day, when you start connecting the dots, it might look like a lot, because sometimes I look at it and it looks like a web, like I'm Spider-Man. There's a lot of webs everywhere. Sincerely speaking, there's so many type of webs everywhere. And then lastly, test and iterate. Make sure when you do your prototype, always test it. Don't just do your prototype and say, oh, I'm done with my prototyping. I can rest easy now. Nobody's going to fight me. No, you need to test it before you actually send it over to the stakeholders or other designers or some other people to test for you. Make sure you test it and there are no broken links. Everything is working. Then you can now send it out. Do we understand? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Where's Victoria? This person just called me, sir. Victoria, are you still here? Oh, she's no longer here. Because this guy just called me, sir. We're supposed to remove him from the call. Anyways, now let's go to the fun part. I do all of the talk where Victor is this. I think it's a lot. Let's go to the fun part. So I'm just going to reshare my screen and we're going to build on what we started in the last class. Do we understand? So let me reshare my screen. Um, Okay, 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 okay. Okay, I'm back. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, so
It's too tiny. Oh, it's too tiny.
don't worry, I'm going to zoom in. Don't worry. I'm most definitely going to zoom in. I just want to ensure that you guys are seeing my screen. So I might not be able to reply in the chat. So if you want to ask a question, I would just suggest that you raise up your hand and then I can just take your question. Does that work, guys? Okay, Ramon.
Yeah, I'm sorry to ask. The your Windows, is it Linux you're using or just normal Windows? Sorry to ask. I'm just curious about it.
It's a Mac.
Okay.
Yes, boss. Well, Linux works just fine. I used Linux for so many years. And I think I enjoyed it. I'm not even going to lie to you. I've not used Windows for a couple of years. Say, is it 3 or 4 years now? I don't like the Windows operating system. It gives me the ick. But as designers, please keep using Windows. If you don't currently use a Mac, just keep using Windows so that you will not have to bypass a lot of things, because there's no Adobe products on Linux. So there's no Adobe products. You have to be looking for alternative. I've said my own. Do you guys understand? So for us to actually be able to create a prototype, we need to have more than one page. Because I mean, how do we want to create a link from one page to another when we have only one single page? It won't make any sense. So for this part, I want to quickly add some more pages to this previous design. I didn't want to do it on my own so that you guys will not ask me the question of how did I come by all of the other pages there. And I felt like it would be more fun for you guys if you watch me do it and then you can ask your questions about it. Do you understand? So first and foremost, let's finish up our registration. Can I zoom in? Of course, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. So first and foremost, let's finish up our registration. We already have all of this, but it is missing one particular thing. And that is basically if the person already has an account, what do they do? I mean, it's just registration for now. So let's add that real quick. Have an account. Have an account. Log in. Have an account. Log in. So I'm just going to put this here. I hope you guys can still see my screen. Okay. Okay, great. So let me reduce the spacing here. Let's do 8. Okay. Let's make this a link. Have an account. Log in. Now we need to create the login page. We already have the registration page, correct? Let's create the login page. So what we're going to do is we'll have a registration page, a login page, and a couple of onboarding pages. So let's do that real quick. Okay. All I did is just duplicate. So for the login, all you need is your email and password. So I'm basically just doing this on the fly, but let me drop this particular stuff in the chat. So I have this website I use for things like login, registration, and some other pages flow that I used to check and ensure that all of the necessary things that I need on that particular page are actually there. So I'm going to share you guys the website real quick, and I would suggest you jot it down somewhere so that you can have it. So the website is called checklist.design. So it's actually a website that shows you like a checklist of some of the elements that you might need to create. So say for example, login page, registration page, sign up flow, forgot password, and the likes. It's basically just going to tell you the elements that you need on that page for it to be considered as a complete page. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So you guys can just check it out. I don't want to take a detour from our class, so let's just continue. So
Sorry, what's the site again?
What are you saying?
What's the site? The site again?
I just dropped it in the chat. You can just pick it from there.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the login page. Don't have an account. Register. So yeah, and then we have the login button right here. Now, just like I said, we're going to be having a couple of onboarding pages. Let me try to create that real quick. Let's make it bigger. So onboarding pages are actually the first set of pages that you see on the mobile app that shows you an overview of what the application actually does and stuff like that. So for example, when you open Zenith Bank app for the first time, and then it's telling you okay, let me use OP. It's telling you bank with us. We have the fastest banking, we have the that's trying to hype themselves. That is basically their onboarding page. While the first page that shows whenever you open an app is called a splash screen. That screen that basically just shows you the logo of the brand or the name of the brand. Say for example, you're opening Zenith Bank or whichever bank you're opening, that page that actually shows you that information. So let me try and see if I can do something around that real quick. Don't worry, it will all make sense when we start doing the prototyping. Yeah, it will all make sense, most definitely. So I'm going to have just 2 onboarding pages. Yeah, my laptop is about to die. Okay. Are you guys still here? Are you getting bored? If you guys are getting bored, let me know. Okay. You can speak. I can see someone raising up their hand. You can speak. Who's raising up their hand? You can speak.
We are not bored
Who's
though.
that?
I'm not.
Okay, cool. So I want to try and build an onboarding
Sorry,
page.
the onboarding page, can we add welcome?
Yes, we can. I'm trying to build an onboarding page for this little application real quick. If I remember correctly, we are trying to build for a school. So I'm trying to see if I can do something real quick. Like I said, this is more or less like on the fly. It's not something that I have created before. I want it to be like a fresh idea. We have the best lecturers. That's how to spell lecturers, am I correct? Best. Let's reduce this numbers to 16. Yeah, it might actually be a little bit ugly because I don't have a low fidelity wireframe for it, but let's still see what we can come up with. Or what do you guys think? So get started. Okay. Let me add one last page. Top notch facilities. We have the best facilities. And let me add some pictures to it to make it look beautiful. That's photos by Free Peak. School. Okay, let's drop this there. Okay, don't worry, I'm going to zoom in on the design as soon as I add all of this. Yes, is that Ramon? You want to say something? Ramon, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I said, which plugin did you use just now? Like, I couldn't see because of the screen.
Oh, okay, it's photos by Free Peak.
Okay, there's a plugin, right?
It's a plugin. It's a plugin. It's a pictures plugin. It's called Photos by Free Peak.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I think I've been able to add a couple of pages. So now let's do a little bit of prototyping. So what we do is we were currently in the design tab. Let me add these guys. Okay, this side. Okay. So let's do a little bit of prototyping. From the design tab, we basically just switch to prototype. And remember, just like I said, what we'll basically be doing is a low fidelity prototype at the moment. Reason being that Figma might not be able to handle some high fidelity prototype on the free plan, which is currently the account I'm using. The account I'm currently using is on the free plan. So let's get started. So this is how the prototyping works. First and foremost, you have to click on the elements you actually to prototype. Yeah, Samson, am I correct?
Please, yeah. Please, can you zoom in the page and probably minimize the chat section so that we can
Let me
see
just
those other segments?
okay, give me a couple of seconds. Let me just I actually wanted to see what's going on with everybody. That's why I'm going to separate this thing. Am I a hood? I'm not hood now. Hello. Oh, okay. Look at me. I am old. Okay, is it better now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. So now let's start off with the prototyping. As I was saying, first and foremost, you have to select the frame or the element that you want to prototype. So then you can now add your interactions to it. So for this particular first page, just like I said, the splash screen does not show for so long, and you almost do not need to actually click on anything for the splash screen to leave your screen. So it's more of a timed kind of interaction. So if you count like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, or thereabouts, it should leave your screen. Do you get me, guys? So that's what the splash screen is all about. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. So I'm just going to pick the whole of the frame since I want the whole page to leave my screen. And then I drag it and drop it to the next place I want it to go to. Do you guys get? So if you notice, the minute I dragged it, it gave me like a pop-up to actually determine what I want that interaction to do. And like I said, it's a timed interaction. So all I need to do is switch this on tap. No, I don't want it to be on tap. So let's switch it to after delay. Just like I said, it is timed. Let's leave it at this 800 seconds so that you guys can see what's happening. And then I can change the animation. Do I want to dissolve, move in, move out, and stuff like that? So I actually want it to smart animate. I don't know. I like using smart animate a lot, but I'm not saying you guys should also use it. It's not a must you guys use it. So now let me add a starting point to it so I can play it and you guys can see. Can you guys still see my screen? Okay, I think the delay is too short. Let me increase it to 1600 ms. Let's play that again. Can you see it navigated from the previous screen, from this screen to this one, just because we set a timer to it? That's just prototyping. That's how it works. So let me change. Yes, Damilola, you have a question.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Olaniyi. Please, what did you click on to give this mobile feature?
Oh, all I did was I added a flow point here. Normally, I'm supposed to click on this play, and then it opens it up in a new tab, just like this.
Right.
It's going to take a while, but while you're, can you see? So by default, Figma actually knows the frame sizes that you use. I'll take your question in a couple of seconds, Abdul. So the frames that you use, Figma tries to actually use that for your prototyping. So if you remember when we did the last class, the frame I used was the iPhone 16 screen. Do you get me, Damilola? I used the iPhone 16 screen. So that is what Figma is just doing. It's saying, since you use the iPhone 16 screen, then let me put your design on an iPhone 16 screen.
Okay.
Do you
I just
understand?
want what you clicked on that brought it out, and I think I get it now.
Okay. So someone wanted to ask a question. What's your question? Victor said, how, yes, Samson.
Um, I still don't get what you clicked at the edge of the the canvas or something that brought out the iPhone 16 screen? Is it that you just click on the iPhone 16 screen or something?
This
Or
is what I
what?
did. What I did was I right clicked on the what do they call it?
On the name?
On the frame itself, and then I
Okay.
added a starting point, a flow starting point. That is a prototype flow starting point.
Okay.
So actually, Figma tries to create a flow starting point for you, but because I have not done so much prototyping, it's still assuming that I have less prototypes. So what I'm doing now is I'm forcing it to create a starting point for me, so I don't always have to just move around jumbled and all of that. So I'm creating a starting point for my prototype.
Okay.
You get? So once I add a starting point, because I use the iPhone 16 frame, if I should play the prototype, it's going to use a mock-up of iPhone 16 to display
Okay.
my prototype. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yes, Sharon, you have a question?
Okay, good evening, sir. I just wanted to be sure. I wanted to ask, is there like a software or an app that we need to install for us to be able to like prototype, or does it come with Figma automatically? That's my question.
Prototyping is actually a part, a feature inbuilt in Figma. So all you just need to do is, we have two tabs here. The first tab is the design tab. And once you switch it, now you're on prototype mode. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, I understand. I'm asking because I have this app on my phone because I use Figma also on my phone. So I have like a prototype Figma aside the Figma itself on my phone.
Okay. So the mobile app for Figma, the Figma mobile app actually allows you to prototype after you have added all of the interactions on the Figma web app. You can easily just play that prototype on your Figma app on your mobile phone to test how it would feel on an actual device. Do you understand? So that's what that Figma mobile app is for. Do you get, Sean?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay. BDME said, please, are we going to be designing the way we designed in Figma, or is there a prototype button on Figma? I just showed you the prototype button. Did you get that, Abidemi? Or should I go over it again? Then Fola said, do not use your phone. Well, you didn't get it. So this is it. This is the design tab on Figma. This is the prototype tab. So all you just need to do is switch in between. If you want to do your design, you stay on the design tab. If you want to do your prototype, you click on the prototype tab. Do you understand, Abidemi? Abidemi, did you get me? Okay, let's continue.
Are you still there, sir? Can no longer hear you.
Oh yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I'm trying to read the questions. Did we use lines to connect two frames together? What is the use of prototypes? Neddy, did you join the class late? And Zacchaeus, did we use lines to, okay, I'm going to redo this particular one. So just like I said, when we started this particular part of the class, you pick the elements that you actually Why is my prototype not working even though I connected the two frames? You can connect the two frames and actually not give it any action, Kenneth. You have to give it an action. You have to tell it what to do. Just connecting the two frames does not mean it would work. You have to give it an action. So let me go over it real quick. You drag. Is there a difference between user journey, user map, user flow? Yeah, there are differences, Benita. There are differences, but can we save those kind of questions for later on? Let's focus on what we're actually talking about at the moment, so we don't digress too much, please. Did you get me, Benita? So
Yes, thank you.
okay, so I've just clicked on the frame I want to prototype to the next one. Since we don't have any buttons, we don't have anything clickable here. So all I need to do is drag and drop it. So now the reason why I prefer the dragging and dropping is because if I should come here and click on plus on interactions, I have to start manually setting a few things like actions, which would take more of my time. So what I basically just do is I click on the element or the frame. It shows this kind of circles around it. I just drag it and drop it to where I want it to go. And that's all. And by default, because it's assuming that what we are prototyping is a mobile app, it says on tap, on tap. So I just need to switch that from on tap because we said we want this page to move to the next one by counting a couple of seconds. Not that we need to click on a button, because if you look at this splash screen, there's literally no button there. It's just the company's logo or the application's logo. So what do? I switch it from on tap to after delay. After delay means that after a couple of seconds, minutes, hours, do this action. So let me break this down for you guys real quick. Trigger, there's trigger. There are so many types of triggers. There's on tap, on drag, while hovering, while pressing, key or gamepad, mouse enter, lots of different triggers. Triggers are basically the action that happens that will lead to that interaction or animation activating itself. Do you guys get what I'm saying? But in this situation, what we want it to do is it stays on this screen for a couple of seconds and it moves to the next screen. So what do? I use after delay. After delay allows me to set in milliseconds. This is 800 milliseconds. So I'm going to increase that to, if I set it to 600 milliseconds, that's 1 second. I'm just going to make it like 1,200 milliseconds. That is 2 seconds. And if you notice, when I was tagging it, I tagged it to this page. So that is why it says action, navigate to. There are so many types of actions also. There's the navigate to, there's scroll to, there's open overlay, swap overlay, close overlay, so many different actions. And with Figma's naming convention, you can basically tell what those actions do by reading their names. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So in this case, we just wanted to go from this page to the next. That is navigation, navigate to. And then the destination has been set for us because we dragged and dropped. Now, let's switch the animation. I don't want it to go instantly. Instant means there will be no animation, there will be nothing. To just change like that. Boom. It will not show any visible animation. I don't want that. So I want to use move in. So I'm going to, can you see this little representation? It's actually showing you how that particular animation would work. So I want it to move in this direction, and that's basically all I have to do. So now if I start a flow point here, so I can see my animation, and then I click on play. Did you see that animation, guys? Let me restart it. Did you guys see the animation? Now it's not looking so evident like it changed the page because the colors in the background of the pages are similar. So let me try and change this one a bit. It's going to make my design ugly, but so can you guys see it now? Did you guys see it? So that's how the prototypes that you see are actually built. All of these small things are actually how it is built for you to get those beautiful animations. Then when it gets to the developers and they try to recreate these animations that has been created on your prototype. Do you understand, guys? Yeah, Kenneth, he said, where did you click to get animation? Okay, while I'm working on the next animation, please try to pay close attention, Kenneth. But I want us to actually animate all these 5 pages. I want us to animate them together. So now the next thing I want us to do is we've been able to connect frame 1 to frame 2, right? Now we have the get started button here. And get started means you either want to create an account or log in. But because we don't know if you have an account or not, by default, it is best we send you to the login screen because we want to assume that, okay, maybe you do have an account. So what do? We switch to prototype, we select that button, and we do what? Drag and drop to the login page. Do you guys get me? And what is our trigger? We actually want someone to click on it. And what's the trigger? On tap. That is, when someone taps on that button, it should take us to that page, to this next page, which is the login page. We're still going to use the moving animation. This is the animation. We're still going to use the moving animation. We still want it to come in from the right to the left. We can set the duration of the animation. That will determine how fast or how slow the animation should be. So if I increase it, it will take more time. If I reduce it, it will take lesser time. Now, let's see if that is working. Remember, it says on tap. Now, let me tap on this get started. Let's see what happens. Did you guys see that? Let me go over it again. Let's start. Let's restart. This one does its work automatically. And then we click on the get started. Do you guys understand? Now, let's go back to it. The animation, the trigger is that we have to click on the get started button. If we don't click on the get started button, then nothing happens on this page. Can you see? I'm clicking on several other places. But can you see? Figma is just telling me this is the only page. This is the only element that actually has something that is clickable. Every other part is not clickable. Do you guys understand? Are you getting my point, guys? Okay, now let's continue. Now, remember, these 2 pages are actually supposed to tell you a little bit about the app itself. So this is what I'm going to do. I want those 2 pages to actually show. So I can either use like on click, but on click will not be so nice. So I'm going to make it like a carousel. So it changes by itself. It does what? It changes by itself. So what do? I'll use the same trick I used for this one. Now watch. I just click on this, and then I map it to go to this place. So instead of on tap, I switch it back to after delay. And now I'm going to make something very nice. Instead of using moving, I'm going to do smart animate. Now, smart animate, what smart animate does is that when the frames are very similar, it would almost look like the background is not changing. Only the content on the page changes. That is what smart animate does. Okay, question. How do we make sure it's only one element that is clickable? Okay, Abidemi, all you just need to do is make sure it is only that element that you select and add a trigger to. It will not assume that you want to add a trigger to everything. Only the place you want a trigger to be set is what you should select. Don't select any other thing. Do you understand, Abidemi? Okay, now let's continue. So like I said, I want the animation to mimic what we did here, but I'm going to reduce the timing a little bit. Let's say 600 milliseconds. I want it to switch from this one to this one, and then from this one back to this one. I made it smart animate. So what do I do again? I pick this one and then connect it back after delay, and then I switch this to 600. Smart animate. Now, okay, Precious, you have a question?
Yeah, please, how did you connect it back?
Basically, all I just needed to do is this. You know, I'm supposed to take this one forward, right? Precious.
Yes.
Precious, are you still there?
Yes.
So instead of taking it forward, because I want it to loop back to the previous one, I just need to drag it backwards, not forward, backwards, because I want it to loop in between each other.
Okay.
Do you understand, Precious?
Yes, I understand.
So when you start working more on prototypes, you would find your own way of doing things. There are several ways I can actually make it loop back to itself. I could use components and variations and stuff like that. But if I start talking about that in this class, we will sleep here and you guys might still not end up understanding. So I'm going to teach you the bare minimum, the basics. Okay, what type of prototype is this? We are making a low fidelity prototype because all of these sections will not be clickable. Not every single thing will be clickable. What we are just trying to do is to ensure that the developer understands that when you click on this button, it goes to this page. When you click on this button, it goes to this page. So we can now use our mouth to tell the developer, see that place that there's name, you have to check if the characters there is more than 8. Email address, you have to check that it has @ and then .com. If not, it should not go. That would be a high fidelity prototype as this. Do you understand? So now let's play our prototype again and see if everything we have given it so far works. Now remember, get started is going where? To the login page on top. Every other thing is lovely jubbly.
Yes, we'll be there.
Sir? You said?
So I'm.
Oh, okay. So now let's go back to our original prototype and play it again. Now, can you see how it's looping? It's going to keep looping over each other. Why is it not looping back? Give me a second. Did I change the animation? Oh, it's on top. My bad. I have to change this to this after delay so that it keeps looping on itself. Now, can you see the way it's changing? It's almost like the button at the bottom is not moving at all, and the background is not moving at all. The reason is because I used Smart Animate, and the frame 2 and frame 3 look almost identical. The only difference is the image they have and the text they have. That's why it's looping this way, and it's almost like the button under it is not changing, though the button still goes to the same place. Do we understand, guys? Okay, now let's wrap up our animation real quick. So if we click on get started, it's taking us to the login page, right? By getting to the login page, all praise to the Lord. But now we said if you don't have an account, register, right? But the registration is not working. It's not even showing the registration page. What do? We select this particular text that says register, and then what do? We map it to the register page. What do? On tap, navigate to, and then let's use Smart Animate also to ensure that everything is looking all clean and nice. Now let's try it now. Let's click on register. Did you guys see that? Now we are on the registration page, but the login link that is here is still not working. What do we do? Same thing. We click on the login and then we map it to the login page. We leave it on tap by still using Smart Animate. Now we've been able to connect all of these pages. And let's click on play real quick and test our application. Splash screen works. This is looping just fine, right? Let me click on get started. Oh, we have the login page. But I do not have an account. I want to register. I click on the register and then it brings out the registration form. Oh, I just remembered. I think I created an account a while ago. And then I click on login back and then I can log in. Do you guys understand? How can we use Protopy with Figma? Okay, so there's actually a Protopy plugin on Figma. I don't know if I still have it installed. Yeah, there it is. So first and foremost, you need to have a Protopy account. So once you have a Protopy account, it would actually connect to Figma and then you can export all of your frames down to Protopy and then you can continue doing your prototype. But Victor, I would advise you, since you're still a beginner, stick to getting very comfortable with the prototyping on Figma, because Protopy has so many features that you might want to try everything out and it might get overwhelming. I'm not even going to lie to you. It might get a little bit overwhelming. So master the ones that you can get from Figma first, play around with it, enjoy it. Then you can now try out some other prototyping platforms. How do we make sure two pages function at the same time? Like if I haven't registered, it will take me to the registration phase. And at the same time, if I have registered, it will log me in. Can you unmute your mic, Abidemi, so you can explain better? I think I understand what you're trying to say, but let me get more context into it. Abidemi.
Okay, good evening. So,
yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me? What I mean is, okay, you know that, how do I put it? Okay, if we if we click on the login page, how does it take us to the login page? And at the same time, if someone else should click on the register page, how is it going to take the person to the register page? Do you get my question?
Well, when you are working on a prototype, one person to one device. So whatever actions you're taking on that device is not, how would I put it? It is not dependent on what another person is doing. So I don't know. Let me see if I can. I should still have the Figma app on my phone so I can better explain this thing. Let me see if I can mirror my phone on my laptop real quick. Yeah, Damilola, you have a question? Yeah, Damilola, I thought you have a question. Okay. Let me see.
Sorry, it's a mistake.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let me see if I can mirror it real quick. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, so let me click on this. So I'm going to be performing two different actions on both of them. And let's see. Let's restart this. Okay. Can you guys still see my screen? Okay. Why is it taking 10 years? Oh boy. What's going on? Okay, so I'm going to click on get started on both of them. Now, I can stay on the registration page here and still be on the login page here. So whichever device you send the link to and they open it, they are going to be interacting with that particular prototype based on whatever they click on their device that has been prototyped. Not that if one person is clicking on registration, registration shows on the other person's phone also. Do you get, Abidemi? Abidemi, are you still here? Okay, so they are actually independent. They are independent. What you are doing on device A does not concern device B, and what you are doing on device B does not concern device C. Everybody is working on the prototype, different times, different locations. They are getting their actions, their feedback based on the actions that they do. Do we understand? Okay. Yeah, let's continue, guys. Let's continue. So yeah, that's actually the basis of prototyping. So as you actually do more prototypes and stuff, you will get better with it. Yes, Samson. Let's take questions
All right.
now.
Thank you very much, sir. So after we
Where's
are
it?
done with
Let us remove Samson.
the okay, I'm sorry about that. Well, after we are done with the prototyping, and probably we want to export it to send it to people. Number one, how do we export to send it to people to help us test? Number two is that how do we include a space or section for feedback and people that are
Okay.
help us to test it?
Okay. So Figma actually has that sorted out. If you are still on Figma, all you just need to do is click on the share button and copy prototype link. That's all. So once you copy the prototype link, see, make sure it's on can view, copy the prototype link, and then you send it to whoever you want to send it to. Then they can just test your prototype for you on whichever device they currently use. But just show the advice I would give is to make it, if it's a mobile app, to make it seamless for the person to actually test. You can suggest to that person that if they have a Figma app, they should download the Figma mobile app, and then it will just open on that mobile app, and then they can easily test it and enjoy themselves. So when they actually click on that link, this is what it will show them. It will load this page and they get this if they open it on a laptop. But if they open it on a mobile phone, they will get this instead. Do you understand, Samson?
Yes, sir. So it means that it is not necessary that they have Figma on their phone, but it is better or advisable if they have Figma on their phone.
Yes. They don't even need to have a Figma account. They don't even need
Okay.
to have a Figma account. They can test it even without a Figma account. But it is just if they want to get seamless experience, if they have a Figma app, if it's a mobile app, it is very, very seamless. But if they don't want to do that, just advise them to open it up on their laptop, and then they will get something like this. They can easily just, do you
Okay, is there
understand?
going to be a space for feedback, or they'll just send feedback normally
Yeah,
to someone manually?
this is a space for feedback. Can you see this? Add comment. So I can just literally click on the parts where I feel like, oh, okay, you did this well, you did well. So when the next time I log in, I would get all of the comments that has been dropped on it. Do you understand? Yeah. So it's question time, guys. You guys can ask questions before we call it a day. If you want to ask a question, just raise up your hand and let's go. Okay. What if they open it on the mobile phone and they don't have Figma app on their phone? How would they look? Okay. Okay, I'm still mirroring my phone. Let me see if I can open it up on my Safari app. Give me a couple of seconds, please. Okay, Yano, yes, you can go ahead while I try to connect this to my phone. Yeah, what's your question, Yano?
Yeah, good evening, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Please help us remove the line.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, you can
Okay, can
continue.
we? Oh, okay. My question is, in a case where we have.
Yano, I can no longer hear you.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me now?
You are still calling me, sir. Hey, Jesus. Okay, continue.
Sorry. Okay, so my question is, in a case where we have different frames on our interface, like desktop, MacBook, iPhone, and the likes, if we want to like play it after doing everything, do we need to like change the the device is going to use to display it when playing it? Because
Okay.
I tried it and
Okay, so
do you
first
get the
and foremost,
question, sir?
yeah, I get you. So first and foremost, what you should do is ensure that you are not connecting a desktop view to another frame that is mobile. It has to be consistent across board. Your old prototype for mobile should be strictly mobile, while your old prototype for web view should also be strictly web view, so that when the person opens it up, regardless of if it's mobile or web view, Figma would understand the frame size and give that person the exact frame style, or how would I put it? Frame style or device mockup that is needed. But for example, I picked iPhone 16. I can decide to switch it to say iPhone 14 here if I wanted to. Can you see it has changed? I can still switch it here to Android expanded. But the reason why all of this is not advisable is that when you start your design, ensure that you are picking the right frame size, so that when you do your prototype, it will not look all weird. Now, I did this design on a iPhone 16 frame. If I should switch this to Apple Watch, can you see how it's looking? Very weird, right? So ensure you design on the proper frame and Figma will do the rest for you. Do you understand, Ian?
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Okay, so Ekene, so this is how it will look. It's still loading. I don't know why it's taking 10 years to load. I'm actually trying to open it on my phone so I can show you how it looks. I don't know why it's taking 10 years to load. Go with George MTN for me. But as soon as it's done loading, I would show it to you. Abidemi says, what is the general frame? Like, which frame will come out well on all phones? So there is no general frame, actually. There's no general frame. It boils down to the kind of designs you're doing. So first and foremost, when you want to start working on a design, you need to first confirm, is it a design for iOS or for Android? So if it is a design for iOS, the best option is to use the latest iOS device, which is iPhone 16, 16 Pro or 16 Pro Max or 16 Plus, if it's for iOS. But if it's for Android, Android will not specify Samsung, Lenovo, or whatever. Just pick either Android Compact or Android Medium, if it's for Android phones. But if it's for tablets, you can pick Android Expanded, iPad, Surface Pro, and the likes. If it's for desktop, we have MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, MacBook Pro 16, and so many others. So you just need to first confirm what kind of device you are creating the design for. But if it is cross-platform means that particular design will be used on both Android and iOS. What you can just do is look for a device frame that is very, very close to both of them. Like for example, now look at this iPhone 16 Plus. It is 430 by 932, while Android Compact is 412 by 917, which means if you use either this or use this, it will still work for your cross-platform application. Do you understand, Abidemi? Yeah, Damilola, let's take your question. I think we have spent so much time on the call. Two more
Okay,
questions and then we can call it a day.
definitely. My question is related to what Yano asked, and I just want to like share more light on it. You said I think the question she asked was that if we have like two different views, like the mobile view and the desktop view on our Canva, that would it affect the other one if we decide to like
Okay.
prototype it? Do you get? So are you saying that it's only what we connect to, like what we connect together, that is going to like show on our prototype, even if the desktop screen is on the Canva? Do you get?
Okay, so let me do a quick demo to what you just said. So I just added like two blank frames. Let me put these logos inside it. Now, let me show you something real quick. Look at all of these lines. All of these lines means they are connected. Are you getting me, Damilola? They are connected. So if I should play this flow, it will never ever go to this side. Do you know why? Because there's no connection there. Do you understand? So that is where flow points actually come into play. That's where flow points come into play. So if I should create another flow point here, can you see? Let me try and connect these two together. I just want to show you something real quick so that you get what I'm getting at. So now, this is our original flow point, which is flow point 1. Can you see? No matter how much we click on this flow point 1, so far we did not connect to this flow point 2, it's not going to go there. It's none of its business. But the minute we switch to flow point 2, can you see? Can you see that it's not going to flow point 1? That's why you need to set your flow points. It will never ever go to another place that you did not send it to. It will only follow the commands that you send it to. But say, for example, I now do this. This is where the problem will now start to happen. I pick this login button and then I connected it here. Now watch what will happen. All of this, blah, 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 blah. And then I click on login. Can you see?
Yes, I can.
So if I did not connect it, it will never go there.
All right, thank you.
Do you understand now?
Sir, can I talk?
How
So
did you
the
create
question now
your
is,
flow points? Please, when I'm talking, yeah, please. So I was about to ask that, how did you like create the flow point? Like you had flow point 1, flow point 2. So how did you like do that?
Okay, all I need to do is do a left click on where I want it to start from, and then I go to this place where it states flow starting point, and then I click on plus. That's all. That's how to create the flow point. But by default, Figma will try to create flow points for you based on your device frames, but it could not create one for me because I already created one for myself when I started my prototype. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yanulua, you can go.
And so the question now is, when you clicked on the second frame you created just for the demo, if I want to like show that second one with the right frame, do I need to like change the device that it will display?
Yes, you need to, because
Do you get the question?
Yeah, I get your question. I just
Okay.
created a random frame size. I did not specify what kind of frame. Let me see if I can pick a proper frame real quick. Desktop. Let me pick MacBook Air. But because this is our flow point, we have been using this, we have to actually manually come here and then click show prototype settings and switch. Can you see that? You have to come here.
Yes, I understand now.
If you don't
Thank you.
switch, it's still going to assume that everything is mobile. Do you understand?
Okay, okay. Yes, I understand now. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So as you do more of these things, you would actually get to understand why those things are like that and how to get better at it. Do you guys understand? So maybe I'll try to curate a group of guys on YouTube that you can follow that drops tutorials about Figma and the likes. I think this is one of them. Xander. I hope I can spell his name right. Memorize the Punit Chawla and then Daniel Scott. So you can check out those 4 YouTube channels. They drop Figma and UI UX related content. You can just check them out, learn from them, try out some of the things that they do, and then you get better actually. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always shoot me a DM actually. Yeah, send me a DM and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So yeah, any other questions before we call it a day?
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I have to stand in for our community manager. He's a little bit under the weather at the moment.
Okay.
So, all right. Thank you so much for the class. I was really insightful. It was fun. It was so engaging. I was enlightening. Thank you so much. Guys, the absence of any other question, please be reminded that our mentorship classes holds on Saturday by 8 p.m. Kindly note that. And another mentorship